Imagine gliding through the night with nothing but a faint whisper beneath you. The road stretched wide, the air carved smooth by invisible precision, every surface designed to calm the senses while quietly thrilling the mind. This isn't just motion, it's orchestration, the kind that turns travel into theater and technology into poetry. In an era where power screams for attention, here is something that doesn't need to raise its voice. Every pulse of energy feels deliberate, every curve a study in restraint, every detail whispering a question. What if true luxury isn't about excess, but about clarity? What if comfort could feel like innovation, and innovation could feel like peace? Because sometimes the loudest revolution is the quiet one, the kind that redefines what it means to arrive. Stick around. We're diving into how that philosophy took shape, what it means for the future, and why this flagship might change the way we define modern driving. Like and subscribe, and tell us in the comments which model you want us to explore next. The Mercedes EQS 2025 marks a turning point for both the brand and the luxury EV segment. It's the moment when Mercedes decided that the S-Class of the electric age should speak a new design, language and project a new kind of confidence. When development began, the engineers and designers faced a question that carried more weight than horsepower figures or range estimates. How do you translate more than a century of craftsmanship and prestige into silence? Electrons and screens without losing the soul of what makes a Mercedes? The EQS wasn't born from an existing gasoline platform, but from a clean slate. An architecture built entirely around electric propulsion called EVA2. That decision alone explains so much about its shape and purpose. It's why the roofline flows like a single brushstroke, why the cabin stretches like a lounge rather than a cockpit, and why aerodynamics became the hero of its design story. The teardrop form, with its record-breaking drag coefficient, isn't simply aesthetic. It's the new definition of efficiency wrapped in luxury. The result is a body that slips through air with almost uncanny ease, contributing to the calm, extended range and signature quiet that define the experience. But what's more revealing than its numbers is the intent behind them. Mercedes aimed to redefine luxury not as something loud or showy, but as something felt, an immersion of technology and materials that soothe rather than shout. Step inside, and that philosophy is immediately clear. The EQS interior replaces traditional ornamentation with digital artistry. The M-Buck's hyperscreen stretches nearly pillar to pillar, fusing 3 OLED panels under a single sheet of glass. Yet it doesn't overwhelm, it invites. The lighting glows softly. The vents nearly vanish, and the materials, whether recycled microfibers or responsibly sourced wood, connect modern sustainability to the tactile warmth of old-world craftsmanship. In this environment, the line between human and machine blurs gently. The car senses moods, adjusts scents, tunes seat pressure, and learns routines. Even the soundscape, the faint hum that replaces the growl of combustion, is tuned like a musical instrument to give motion a sense of occasion. But behind that serenity was tension. Creating an all-electric flagship meant challenging long-standing hierarchies inside Mercedes itself. Traditionalists feared that without the commanding presence of an internal combustion S-Class, the brand risked diluting its identity. Engineers pushed back, arguing that silence and instant torque could communicate power in a new way. Designers wrestled with form versus function, debating whether the EQS should visually connect to the S-Class lineage or carve out a separate visual identity. The solution, what we see now in the 2025 EQS, is a fusion of continuity and rebellion. The badge still promises grandeur, but the shape signals progress. And progress isn't just about moving faster. It's about moving smarter. The chassis integrates a sophisticated air suspension and rear axle steering, allowing this nearly 17-foot-long sedan to maneuver with the grace of something half its size. Every motion feels premeditated, as if the car anticipates physics rather than reacting to it. Even its regenerative braking isn't just a technical feature, it's part of the rhythm, the way the EQS breathes with the driver. To own this car is to experience the evolution of comfort itself. Less about cushioning from the world, more about harmonizing with it. Yet beneath the polish, there's still the question of meaning. Does the EQS 2025 succeed because it feels futuristic, or because it feels inevitable? In its pursuit of digital serenity, Mercedes may have discovered a truth larger than any one model, that the essence of luxury has shifted from exclusivity to experience. And that revelation, more than any performance figure, is what sets the EQS apart. As we move forward, the story deepens. How did this vision land in the market, and how did competitors and drivers respond? That's where segment 2 takes us. The Mercedes EQS 2025 entered the market not as a tentative experiment, but as a definitive statement, a declaration that the electric future of the brand would begin at the very top. Within the first months of its debut, the EQS reshaped expectations around what an EV could be at the luxury level, yet it also triggered a debate across the industry about what luxury itself should feel like in an era of digitization. The EQS 2025 sits at the crossroads of technology and emotion, and in the United States, that intersection has always been fraught with competing desires: range versus performance, innovation versus familiarity, and the unspoken expectation that a six-figure sedan must impress without trying too hard. Mercedes tackled these headwinds with quiet confidence. The 2025 iteration refined nearly every major system. Battery density increased, charging speeds improved, software became more intuitive, and yet the goal remained singular: to make electric refinement indistinguishable from the ease of a traditional S-Class experience. Every improvement was measured not by numbers but by feel. That philosophy shaped its US rollout. Early adopters were drawn to the Serenity, but many were skeptical about the learning curve that came with its advanced tech ecosystem. The hyperscreen, for all its spectacle, required users to rethink how they interacted with a car, swiping through layers of menus, delegating climate and seat controls to algorithms. For some, it felt like liberation. For others, like surrender. Yet this tension became part of the EQS's charm. It wasn't just a vehicle, it was a conversation about trust between human and machine. When reviews began circulating, critics described the driving experience as almost meditative. Instant torque, delivered without drama, created a new sensory vocabulary for power. On winding roads, the rear-wheel steering transformed its massive footprint into something unexpectedly nimble, and the whisper-quiet cabin turned long highway drives into something akin to first-class air travel, complete with ambient lighting that shifted hues with your mood. But there were also fair criticisms. The weight, over 5,000 pounds, was impossible to hide. The digital controls could feel abstract, and some questioned whether a car this silent might lose the emotional theater that enthusiasts still crave. Mercedes didn't shy from these reactions. The company saw them as proof that the EQS was doing its job, forcing the conversation forward. In Europe, the EQS helped solidify the brand's image as an EV pioneer. In America, it became a litmus test for what affluent buyers truly valued in the shift toward electric mobility. Meanwhile, rivals were watching closely. Another manufacturer responded with minimalist interiors and oversized touchscreens of their own. Others doubled down on sportiness, offering louder acceleration tones and aggressive bodywork to preserve the emotional spark. Yet none approached the EQS's combination of serenity and scale. This wasn't about being the fastest or the flashiest, it was about redefining presence. Mercedes treated every detail, from battery cooling to seat stitching, as an opportunity to express intentional luxury. Even its marketing leaned on experience rather than spectacle. Drives along quiet coastlines, the sound of waves replacing the roar of engines. For American buyers accustomed to bold styling and instant gratification, this restraint became the car's most subversive trait. Over time, something unexpected happened. The EQS began attracting a new kind of owner, people who saw sustainability not as sacrifice, but as sophistication. Tech leaders, architects, creatives, individuals drawn to the idea that progress could look, feel, and sound effortless. The EQS became their sanctuary, their rolling workspace, their statement of calm. The aftermarket scene, traditionally loud and extroverted, took longer to engage. But even there, the EQS found niche tuners exploring aerodynamic tweaks, upgraded wheels, and custom lighting signatures that emphasized the car's futuristic silhouette without compromising its identity. Some explored range optimization software or bespoke interior retrims, treating the EQS less as a performance canvas and more as an art object. The shift was subtle but profound. Personalization was no longer about noise or speed, but about texture and tone. In the realm of motorsport, the EQS didn't seek direct competition. It didn't need to. Instead, its technology filtered into the brand's Formula E efforts and trickled back in the form of improved battery management, predictive energy recovery, and software refinement. What happened on the track informed what happened in the cabin, completing a feedback loop that made the EQS a living laboratory for future mobility. In the policy landscape, the EQS also arrived at the right cultural moment. Federal incentives, expanding charging infrastructure, and the normalization of high-end EV ownership helped soften the transition for traditional buyers. Mercedes leveraged these shifts by emphasizing longevity, over-the-air updates, recyclable components, and a modular battery system designed to outlast typical ownership cycles. Yet, for all the engineering sophistication, the EQS still had to answer a simpler question. Could it move hearts, as well as it moved electrons? The answer began to crystallize as owners logged miles. Testimonials spoke less about acceleration and more about peace of mind, the relief of not hearing an engine, the satisfaction of knowing the car updates itself while you sleep, the subtle joy of arriving refreshed after long journeys. That emotional resonance became the EQS's real selling point. As the 2025 version refined its range and usability, it began to bridge generations. Longtime Mercedes loyalists found comfort in its quality, while younger buyers saw it as the future rendered tangible. By merging technology with human intuition, Mercedes wasn't just selling a car, it was selling time, silence, and balance. And those are commodities that transcend horsepower. The market's response proved that the EQS wasn't merely an adaptation to electric trends, it was a redefinition of luxury itself. Still, every revolution eventually faces its reckoning. How does a car like the EQS maintain its soul as its technology becomes commonplace? How does it evolve when its competitors inevitably catch up? That's the heart of Segment 3, where we explore the legacy, the lessons, and the lasting imprint of the Mercedes EQS 2025. The Mercedes EQS 2025 carries the weight of expectation, the culmination of decades spent defining what automotive luxury means and the first real test of whether that definition can survive in a fully electric world. By this point in its journey, the EQS has matured beyond novelty. It has become a benchmark, both admired and critiqued, for what happens when tradition meets transformation. The story of its legacy begins not with its numbers, but with its effect on perception. The EQS 2025 proved that electric cars could be aspirational, not just because they're cleaner or quicker, but because they express a kind of quiet authority. It taught the market that silence could feel more luxurious than sound. And that intelligence, the car's ability to anticipate rather than react, could replace the need for brute force as the measure of sophistication. That shift rippled outward. Other manufacturers began prioritizing refinement over aggression, integrating AI-driven comfort systems, and adopting design languages that favor purity over drama. Even within Mercedes itself, the EQS reoriented priorities. Every future platform now considers digital craftsmanship as essential as mechanical excellence. But progress always invites paradox. As the EQS 2025 and its successors grow smarter, they also raise deeper questions about identity. If a car learns you, remembers you, and responds to you, does it still reflect who you are or who the algorithm thinks you should be? Mercedes' answer has been to preserve agency. The EQS's interface, refined for 2025, balances autonomy with control, allowing drivers to surrender to automation or reclaim command at will. It's this elasticity, this respect for choice, that defines its long-term appeal. The car never forces you into the future. It invites you. Yet legacy isn't built on design alone. The EQS has quietly influenced the way people think about ownership. Instead of being a status symbol that sits in a garage, it's a living ecosystem, one that updates, evolves, and stays current without requiring a new purchase. This model of continuous renewal has begun reshaping consumer expectations across the industry. The value of a car is no longer tied solely to what it was at delivery, but what it becomes over time. That's a seismic shift in a market accustomed to obsolescence. And while the EQS 2025 may eventually be succeeded by faster, smarter siblings, it will always hold the distinction of being the moment Mercedes turned that corner. The emotional core of its legacy, however, is far simpler. For drivers, the EQS represents a rare kind of peace, a sanctuary that travels with them, blending motion with mindfulness. Long commutes feel shorter. Fatigue fades. The sense of connection between driver and machine deepens with every update. It's the kind of relationship once reserved for enthusiasts of mechanical art, now translated into digital language without losing its soul. The EQS 2025 reminds us that technology can be intimate when designed with empathy. Its materials may be recycled, its propulsion silent, but its intent is profoundly human, to make life smoother, calmer, and more meaningful in motion. Even years from now, when the EQS becomes a familiar sight on American roads, its impact will still be felt in how other brands chase serenity instead of spectacle. It's the car that taught the world that true luxury is not about having everything. It's about feeling everything more clearly. And as we look beyond 2025, that clarity becomes the foundation for whatever Mercedes builds next. The EQS's role isn't ending, it's evolving. Its story now serves as both blueprint and mirror, reflecting where the automotive world is heading and reminding us why innovation must always serve emotion. As the electric landscape accelerates, the EQS stands as proof that the most radical thing a car can do isn't to shout about its power, but to whisper its purpose. In the end, that's the essence of the Mercedes EQS 2025, and that's where its legacy truly begins. The Mercedes EQS 2025 concludes its story not with spectacle, but with resonance. A car designed to move quietly through both air and time, leaving behind a new definition of modern luxury. For American buyers, its appeal lies in the intersection of practicality and prestige. With a range that comfortably exceeds 300 miles, charging times shortened by the brand's latest 800-volt architecture, and a growing network of fast charging stations across the country, the EQS 2025 makes electric ownership less of an adjustment and more of an upgrade. Yet owning one isn't about efficiency alone. It's about entering a different rhythm of life. The cabin becomes a workspace, a retreat, or a sanctuary depending on the hour. Maintenance demands are minimal, and over-the-air updates ensure that the car never feels outdated, a rare promise in a world of fast-moving tech. In real-world terms, the EQS rewards its owners with the consistency Mercedes has always been known for, wrapped in a future-proof shell. Reliability has proven strong, with most concerns centering around software rather than mechanical issues, a shift symbolic of the EV era. For those considering used or certified examples in the coming years, the 2025 model year stands out for its refinement and improved usability. Early kinks have been polished away, and its battery management system ranks among the most stable in its class. Pricing remains premium, but depreciation is mitigated by demand from buyers seeking flagship EV comfort without waiting for newer variants. Import or resale barriers are minimal, and support networks for software and service are already entrenched across major US markets. The real question for prospective owners isn't whether the EQS 2025 performs, it's whether they're ready for a quieter kind of confidence. Because this car doesn't celebrate speed or status in the old sense. It celebrates composure, intelligence, and purpose. It's the vehicle for people who see technology not as spectacle but as craft, who understand that the next era of luxury won't be measured by cylinders or chrome but by calm. And in that realization lies the EQS's lasting gift to the automotive world. Proof that progress, when done with grace, can feel timeless. The Mercedes EQS 2025 doesn't just transport you, it transforms the space between departure and arrival into something worth savoring. That's the future of luxury mobility, refined, deliberate, and quietly unforgettable.